Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And now with another major storyline completed, there are fewer and fewer things left for us to do before progressing to the next chapter. And what I would like to do now is get the next batch of stronghold quests, but there are still around 2 days before the next quest shows up in the fighter stronghold, so what we're going to do is go back to Athkatla and check up on our students in the planar sphere.
Your fate has arrived, Sir Anomen. You are a squire no longer, but have now become a knight. Well done, young man.
My thanks, Sir Keldorn. You are a fine example of honor and chivalry, and all in the Order look up to you. I feel that I must apologize for being rude to you before, the brashness of youth, as you have said.
Worry not, young knight. You are well along the journey of the righteous path now. Torm has forgiven all. So this is something that I've mentioned before. Unfortunately, we didn't have Keldorn in the period of time when Anomen was still trying to become a knight, but they have at least 2 banters in which Anomen acts in a pretty bratty way towards Keldorn, and that's what they're referencing here. And also Anomen talks about the brashness of youth, because yeah, Anomen, you are so much more mature now, like 2 weeks after the time when these banters would have normally taken place. But anyway, let's check the progress of our students here. And apparently they have managed to successfully scribe that mislead scroll for us, which was of course the safest task, the easiest one. And now comes the time for the final real test. Apparently they're going to continue with their insane pace in order to properly learn the rigors of magic. Now comes serious enchantment. These items are powerful and also potentially deadly if not constructed properly. They show the true benefits of magical infusion. I don't know if they are appropriate for apprentices to make, but it is time to find out. So it's going to be a choice between the Robe of the Apprentice, a Ring of Wizardry, and a Staff of Power, which is apparently from the advanced class. I borrowed a tome from a friend of mine who said no one has attempted it in years. That's crazy talk. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? I like a challenge, but I also like living. There is risk in all of these, particularly the last one. I think they are doable, but the making will be difficult, almost assuredly deadly. And all of what he said is true. And we're going to elaborate on our choices in a second, but as you can see, there's also a 4th way, where we say that the best lesson to learn is when to back away, and to stop this crazy talk, and make them not attempt any of these items, because they are way too dangerous, and only experienced spellcasters should attempt to craft those, not, you know, these snot-nosed apprentices. But there are also some pretty funny lines here. Well, if it does prove deadly, I should like the Robe of the Apprentice to remember you by. Or if we tell them to wait, because we have to raise some funds, he's going to be like, please, return before I regain my senses and decide that these things are better left to archmages. And also, we are going to have to engage them in a conversation in a very specific moment here, but let's talk about the lineup here, about our options. So the Robe of the Apprentice is a robe that just gives you an armor class of 3 and nothing else. It's basically the clear loser in this selection. Then we have the Ring of Wizardry, which is another copy of a ring that we already have, the one that gives us an additional memorization slot for levels 5, 6, and 7. And then the Staff of Power does a couple of things. It gives you a bonus of 2 to your armor class and to your saving throws, and it also has 2 spells on it. It can cast Globe of Invulnerability and a special lightning bolt that can stun. And the cool thing about it is that that stun portion does not grant a saving throw to the target. So if something is stunnable and gets hit by that lightning bolt, well, it is going to get stunned. So that's pretty cool. But the downsides are that the Robe of the Apprentice is going to make Lars die, the Ring of Wizardry is going to lead to the deaths of both Lars and Nara, and the Staff of Power, in the process of making that, they are all going to die. And it's not even guaranteed that they are going to be able to successfully craft the item, so like I said before, there is some saving and reloading involved in this stronghold if you want to get your hands on some of these items. And also if we go the 4th way, to convince them not to make any of these items, they are of course all going to survive, and that is going to give us a reward of 50,000 experience, and then later on we're going to be able to periodically get some potions. So we are going to go with that kind of good aligned way of not getting any of them killed. But when it comes to just game mechanics and what would be the best choice here. It really depends on the situation. For a full party playthrough, I think I like another copy of Ring of Wizardry the most, because, you know, spell levels 5, 6, and 7 have many very useful spells, and if you have 2 or 3 mages, you know, these rings are going to be very useful. Whereas the 50,000 experience, for example, you know, spread over 6 characters, it's not that much. But for a solo character, for example, the rings of wizardry, of course, are not going to stack. So it's really either the 50,000 experience, which for a solo character is a decent amount, or really probably the Staff of Power for the spells that it can cast. And of course, the Robe of the Apprentice is just useless. So anyway, like I said, we need to now engage them in a conversation when they are not in the process of like casting a spell. They are not like in the middle of an animation, because this can bug out. And this should be fine, I think, because if we say that you know, it's all too risky, and even though this is going to be an anticlimactic way to end the apprenticeship, you know, they are going to be thankful to us in the end, because you know, in the process of their studies here in the planar sphere, no one lost their life if we go with this option, so we are resolute. And there are going to be some heartfelt goodbyes. Okay, and they teleported out successfully. If they are in the middle of an animation, this can bug out and they don't teleport out, and then when you talk with them, they're going to engage in a conversation in which, like, they complain about Lars dying, although he's clearly still standing next to them. And yeah, it's a classic bug in there. But anyway, now we are going to have to advance some time for that fighter stronghold quest to appear, and we're going to do a couple of things for that. We are going to rest a little bit, but we're also going to do a certain fight here in Nathkatla. But before we advance time, let's advance Anomen in levels. So he's level 17 now, and he gets some nice spell slots. So I think here we're going to go for another Holy Power. Soon we're going to need all of these spell slots to probably be chaotic commands, but for now we might have another source of true sight here, or true seeing to be exact. And we didn't really get to use the regeneration in the fight against Firkrag, so I think I'm going to hold on to it just a little bit longer so that we can cast it somewhere. We're going to go back to having Firestorm because of its, you know, versatility and usefulness, but I think soon we're going to switch regeneration to a Shield of the Archons, so that Anomen can have a nice protection for himself. And then also Kiranai is going to be level 17 now, and I think we're going to pump up stealth one more time on her, and she also gets some nice saving throw boosts. And yeah, now with the items she has equipped, she has some pretty decent stealth, so she should be pretty reliable to just stealth on her own, even in like broad daylight outdoors. But we also have to remember that she has these boots, which they are going to be replaced quite soon. And she also has this Mercy Killer ring equipped, which is also something that she's not going to have on forever. So at some point we're going to probably have to spend 1 or maybe 2 levels pumping up her stealth. But not necessary yet. Okay, and here we're also going to identify some items before we rest, and we're going to quickly pop into the Copper Coronet, I think, to sell some stuff before we move on. And here's the Mislead Scroll that our apprentices made for us. Alright, so here we can identify this, the Knight's Gift. That's the armor that we received from Minister Lloyd after dealing with the Shade Lord and that whole quest line. So it gives us a nice boost to Hide in Shadows, and it's a very high enchanted leather. So I'm going to hold on to it. This might be an armor that Kiranai is going to equip once she has use any item. And here we have Heartseeker from Firkrag's Lair, and this is another, like, for Baldur's Gate 2 standards, it's a really decent composite longbow, because it gives +2 damage, +4 Thaco, and has that aim ability. But this one we're going to sell, and we also are going to change some of our spells here. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to fight a Lich now, and for that we're going to need as many Ruby Rays as we can get here. And I think at level 5 I'm going to go for like double spell shield here. And on Edwin could use definitely at least 1 spell shield. Oh, he doesn't have a spell shield. Okay. that changes things. And I don't want to do a scribing session just yet. I don't want to like lose time on it now. I need to prepare it, I think, in between episodes. Alright, so scratch that plan. And we're going to get certainly more pierce magics. And I'm thinking maybe even 3 would be nice, but let's just leave it at that. And Jaheira can get back 1 chaotic commands, maybe. Insect Plague is not going to be useful for now. Alright, now we can rest. And now we can identify some more items before we go and sell some stuff to Bernard. So here's Delver's plate. It's just a plate armor +2 from Chieftain Digdag. And then we have a full plate mail +1 from Tazok, and we can get some other one more thing. Just a studded leather +2. Alright, so that Lich. That's an encounter that I have put off for a while, because you know, we didn't really have the proper spell to engage a proper Lich, kind of in a fair way, a fair for him, meaning that we're not going to use any like protection from undead scrolls and anything like that. So now that we have access to level 7 spells and some pierce magic from level 6, you know, we are in a better condition to kind of take an opponent like a Lich, just take them on in a kind of a, like I said, straightforward, kind of a fair way. And I think this mace +2 was stolen, so we're not going to be able to sell it here. But anyway, that has freed up some inventory space. And now we can go to the Graveyard District, because the Lich I'm talking about is the Lich involved in Edwin's personal quest. If you remember some time ago when we visited the Grave District with Edwin for the first time, he mentioned that he recalled a powerful artifact, a Nether Scroll, being apparently hidden somewhere in the underground crypts beneath the Graveyard District. And normally this Lich is very weak in the unmodded game, because, you know, it's a personal quest of Edwin's, and I guess the developers of the game didn't want to make him such a tough opponent, just not to block the completion of that kind of a personal quest. By the way, there was a little lag when we entered, because I think, you know, now the different vampires in the north spawned and their SCS scripts needed to load. Here in this part of these crypts, of these tombs, I'm going to just go manually instead of teleporting, because there are some spawn points of some undead along the way, and I don't want them to like interfere in our fight with the Lich. So let's just see if we are going to encounter some of them along the way. Alright, there they are. So we might offer them a little again as our Scorcher. You know, they love it. So we're going to just kind of soften them up a little bit and give Keldorn a chance to like try out his new sword, I guess. I think you were too slow, Keldorn. You're old. Anyway. So in SCS, of course, SCS doesn't care, and it buffs up this Lich to a proper power level. He's going to be level 18, have access to like level 9 spells, have a ton of protections and whatnot. So we are going to have to prepare for this fight, and this is going to be a total mage battle. And since this is Edwin's quest, we are going to involve him, and it's going to be Senashira and Edwin versus that Lich. Just a magical battle, but we're going to have to prepare for that, and we're going to first use Remove Fear on everybody, because Liches in SCS have that Dragon Fear ability, I guess borrowed from dragons. And now we're going to have to first give them stone skins, so that they don't get interrupted by physical damage. Next, we're going to cast Spell Shield on Senashira. And we're going to give her protection from magical energy from Edwin. Right, now we're going to give them some mirror images. Now I think I'm going to give a potion of freedom to Senashira and prepare Daystar for her. And that is because not only I think that the Lich might have the minor sequencer that a lot of SCS opponents like with Web and Stinking Cloud, but also whenever he runs out of his Melf's minute meteors, which he is sure to be pre-buffed with, and he's going to have quite a few of them because of his high level, but once he runs out of them, the melee attack of a Lich can hold you. So I don't want to get caught off guard by such a nasty surprise. Alright, now we're going to cast True Sight before going in with Senashira. Now we're going to cast Spell Immunity to Alteration on both of our mages because of Sphere of Chaos, and I don't want to take any chances, and he is very likely to have that spell at his disposal. And then we're going to cast Spell Immunity to Abjuration so that they don't get dispelled by Remove Magic. And yeah, the Potion of Freedom, you know, we are going to have to trade being hasted for that protection, but like I said, I'm going to play it safe. And here we meet Nevaziah, a name that we've heard before when we were here with Korgan, seeking the Tome of Kaza. We have encountered some undead to the south that mentioned their teacher, Nevaziah. But anyway, he is under the impression that the cowled wizards are still looking for him, but of course we're not with them. Apparently they've found him out at some time in the past, practicing the arts without their permission, and he escaped with his pupils and taking some books, some knowledge, some ancient forgotten knowledge with them. And he doesn't even realize that he's a Lich, apparently. He was dying and used magic to save himself and his students. So yeah, he, you know, basically they have prolonged their life by becoming undead. He became a Lich and his students became various types of undead creatures. And it doesn't seem like this name is in usage nowadays. Nevaziah, Keeper of Wisdom. Yeah, they've been hiding here for centuries, apparently. And he's going to mention that the wisdom and the knowledge that they have gathered here has to be destroyed. And Edwin interferes now. And of course he demands that Nether Scroll. A most sacred scroll. And most dangerous wisdom. Others must be protected from it, lest they be destroyed. And of course, as always, you know, feel free to pause and read all of the text in detail. But of course, Edwin is not going to allow him to destroy such an invaluable artifact, and we are going to have to fight the Lich for it. So we're going to keep Senashira in front, so that she is a target of his spells, and now let's see what he has here. Alright, so he has a spell shield, and he has spell trap. Also some physical protections, improved invisibility. We're going to have to wait for one tick of that True Sight for him to become revealed and be available for our spells. He also has Horrid Wilting and a Chain Contingency on him, and protection from magical weapons and from the elements. I think even without spells he has actually 100% resistance to all elements, so that doesn't really matter. But what matters is that those are his only two protections right now, Spell Shield and Spell Trap. So what we're going to do is wait for that True Sight first. Alright, illusions were dispelled already, because we precast that True Sight, and now we're going to get rid of his spell shield with Edwin's Pierce Magic. We have to use spells of level 6 and higher, because he's a Lich, so he's immune to anything from levels 1 to 5, with the exception of Dispel Magic, Remove Magic, and Breach, thanks to SCS. That component about more reliable breach, but anyway, we're going to first use Pierce Magic to get rid of his spell shield, and he has Time Stop to interrupt us first. Hopefully he doesn't go invisible. Okay, Sphere of Chaos, we're protected against that, we don't care. Of course the Dragon Fear, as you can see, also keeps ticking. Okay, the Kelban's Warding Whip is going to dispel our spell shield, which is actually really nice that we have had that. Because if it's stuck, like if it could hit us, it would just keep dispelling. That's basically the thing about Kelban's Warding Whip, that for 3 rounds it's going to every round dispel 1 protective spell. So if it hit us, it would basically successfully dispel, like over the course of 3 rounds, you know, pretty much all of our spell protections. But anyway, now I'm kind of torn because this Pierce Magic from Edwin is going to dispel his spell shield, and I would like to follow it up immediately with a ruby ray, but then we are going to be at a risk of getting dispelled by this Lich, and I think I need to renew my spell shield first before we go with ruby ray. Okay, so his spell shield got dispelled, but now he has spell trap, and the first spell that dispels that is ruby ray, so Edwin's pierce magics are not going to be effective against that. Alright, so he also cast teleport field, and I would like to kind of get out of that, although this is also an alteration spell, so we don't need to care. Okay, now we're going to have to use our ruby ray. Oh my god, and he got through all of our mirror images with that fire damage. You lucky bastard. Seriously, man. You know what I'm going to do then? Now that you have no mirror images as well. Brace yourself. Alright, there's one Mordenkainen's sword. Alright, so at least we interrupted him there. And dealt some magical damage to the sword, which doesn't really matter. I think I'm going to cast a death spell, but we're going to see if he has any more of these swords at his disposal here. Because if he does, we can kill, you know, more than one with one death spell. And we only have one death spell, so... Okay, don't get lucky, please. So he had a contingency with protection from magical weapons. Alright, the ruby ray hit him, so his spell trap now is down. So we can now cast breach and to dispel his physical protections and see what we can do. Alright, he's casting an evocation spell. Okay, that's a Mordenkainen's sword number 2. Alright, so that breach hit him. We are going to then attack him with Senashira, and Edwin is going to cast a death spell to get rid of all of these swords. Alright, now we're getting to him. Please interrupt him. Alright, thank you, Edwin. That was cool. Alright. Let's see what is up now. He has a spell trigger with spell deflection, protection from magical weapons, and spell shield. Alright. So yet again, we have to get rid of his spell shield with pierce magic from Edwin. And we are going to have to get rid of that spell deflection with something here, with some scroll. Alright, we have Kelban's Warding Whip. We will be able to use that on him. But we might have Pierce Magic as well here. Yeah, we do have Pierce Magic, but Pierce Magic is something that I would like to learn on Senashira, and this might be our only scroll of that. Let me just double check if we have some scrolls of that. Doesn't seem like it. This can go back to Jaheira, by the way. So yeah, I think what we're going to have to do to get to him, I think I might actually cast Kelban's Warding Whip here, because once his spell shield is down, we are going to cast the Warding Whip to get rid of his spell deflection, and then for 2 next rounds he's not going to be able to put up any spell protections, because they are going to get, you know, dispelled by that Warding Whip, which is going to be active on him. So we're going to see how that goes. Let's renew mirror images in the meantime. Alright, so his spell shield number 2 is dispelled. Now let's use our Kelban's Warding Whip. Okay, he's going actually invisible. Now, we don't have our True Sight active now. So what we're going to have to do, I think, is we're going to haste Kirinai so that she can just go in, detect some illusions, and get the hell out before he can do anything to her. So I think that's going to be our plan, and we're also going to give her the Boots of Speed on top of all that. Alright. Hopefully she is in range there, because I don't want to step into that Sphere of Chaos, but I think I'm going to have to get a little closer, and hopefully she... Oh yeah, she is protected against fear. We've buffed everyone up with Remove Fear. Just please dispel him. Yeah, his illusions were not dispelled. We cannot cast anything. Although, from scrolls you can... with scrolls and wands you can actually target people under the effect of improved invisibility, but I don't want to generally do that. Okay, now his illusions are dispelled. Now let's do it. Alright, our spell immunity to alteration has expired, which is not good. I think I'm going to have to renew it right now, because this is now the most important thing, not to get completely screwed over by an unlucky Sphere of Chaos proc. So let's do that. Alright, now we're safe against that. That's cool. Now let's actually see if he still has protection from magical weapons. Alright, he doesn't. So we can actually get through to him yet again. We don't need to actually keep dispelling. Alright, change of plans. We actually do have to keep dispelling. And yeah, let's do that with Senashira, and Edwin is going to offer us a little breach in a second. Alright, so his spell protections are now down. Let's now... Okay, Spell Thrust was cast on Senashira, so her spell shield number 2 is now down, but she doesn't really have any spell protections left on her anyway, except that spell immunity to alteration, which is now irrelevant because both Sphere of Chaos and Teleport Field are expired. Okay, and now we can get to him again, and I could now have other people, like very quick Kirinai, come over and start attacking, but let's finish this fight like it was meant to be.
This is it. This must be it. This has to be it. The just and unjust alike will all fear the overwhelming power of Edwin Odeseron and his Nether Scroll.
So, yeah, no matter what we say here, of course he plans to use it for himself, to get the power. Obtaining power is, of course, Edwin's #1 objective. But anyway, now we are done with Nevaziah. That was a proper Lich fight, as you could see. And he is only worth 8,000 experience because, like I said, in the unmodded game, he is a complete wimp. But yeah, now we have the Nether Scroll, and there is going to be a follow-up with Edwin later on. As to what he's going to be able to kind of decipher, what knowledge he's going to be able to decipher from that scroll. But that's something for a little later. And now we have a little bit of time left. I think we are going to be able to go back to our dear niece stronghold and probably have a quest ready for us over there. Or if not, we're going to have to rest maybe once or twice, and it should be there. Alright, another ambush like these, where they basically realize who they try to go against, and they run. We're not going to bother with them. We have way more important things to do. Alright, now we're in the Diarnese lands, and let's see if we have our quest here. Alright, there is a quest. Apparently Captain Cernic has something to bring up. Something of a delicate nature.
I trust you have no hostile intentions.
Greetings, my lady. I am not sure if you have been aware, but we have been experiencing a number of thefts in the keep over the past couple of weeks. Small things, a goblet, some silverware, a few coins from the servants' quarters. All of these things have value, although none of them were major thefts. Still, I investigated. Lastin here is one of the new guards. I caught him red-handed, attempting to take a necklace that belonged to the late Lady Diarnese. Lastin has confessed his crime. I am unsure how to punish him, my lady, so I have brought this before you. So we have a little thief here, and there's a couple of things that we're going to do here first. Let's ask Cernic his opinion. It has not happened while I've been at the keep, but Arat told me of one of the servants helping himself to the tax money. He was executed, naturally. So here, executing him, you know, it's not going to be something that the people are going to like us more for, but that would be, I guess, understandable. But let's see what Lastin has to say. He's pretty surprised with that, but he's going to reveal that his wife is awfully sick, and apparently he needs to purchase very expensive medicine for her. I could not afford such an expense, but I can't just watch my wife die. So basically he was brought to a very desperate situation where he resorted to stealing some small things that wouldn't be missed to try to scrounge up some money, I guess. So how much for the medicine? It's 500 gold, which when it comes to his salary, I guess it's something unattainable. So we can pay for this medicine, and we shall do so, of course, being good aligned. And this is something that the people are going to look more favorably at us. Of course, the way we're going to do all of these quests here, we have no reason to be at all concerned. We are going to be loved by the time we're finished with the quests, by the people of the neighboring lands here. So it's really not a concern. I'm just saying, which option would basically do what in terms of our reputation. But then this is like so cruel. So of course he is overjoyed. He thanks us for the medicine, for the gold and everything. But after that you can still execute him. That is so horrible. Like he's like, yes, this unattainable dream have come true, but what? Wait, what? I'm going to die. Like 5 seconds later, well, I cannot overlook your crime. You're going to die anyway, but at least your wife is going to survive, and we can expel him from the guard, or we can just let this slide, and I am going to do that. I shall never forget this. Yeah, so that's quest number 2. We get the maximum amount of experience, and of course the satisfaction of doing a good deed here with this issue here at the keep. And this is kind of perfect when it comes to time. So this is going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.